Welcome back, everybody. America Votes rocks forward into the night. More from the Wisconsin primaries. I'm Ed Berliner. Thanks so much for joining us. There are a lot of ramifications to what has happened tonight. Let's get right to them from the man who knows all about it. Let's welcome in veteran political analyst Dick Morris. Joins us right here on America Votes, I should say. All right, Dick, right to it. Does what we have seen tonight on the Republican side mean that we will be guaranteed of having an open convention and that Donald Trump cannot win on the first ballot?
No, not by a long shot. Winston Churchill said after Dunkirk, this is not the end, this is not the beginning of the end, but this is the end of the beginning. And I think that's what you could say here. This was Cruz's first win in a major northeastern state, and all his other wins have been in southern states or western states or farm states. This is very significant that he was able to go into Wisconsin, and that he walloped Trump by almost 20 points is even more significant. It means that Trump has finally hurt himself, that all of these skirmishing of the last 2 weeks has really injured Trump with core voters who he needs, particularly women. Now, in terms of the math, Cruz stands to pick up all 42 delegates today, and over the next 2 weeks, about 80 more in Colorado, 37, North Dakota, 24, Wyoming, 14. And he'll probably win those almost unanimously. And then he will go into the New York primary about 170 behind Trump. But Rubio got 170 votes. So if Rubio throws in with Cruz, which he probably will at some point, he would then be even with Trump. Then the question becomes, can Trump's margins in Pennsylvania and New York overcome what is probably going to be Cruz's margin in California? And Pennsylvania plus New York have the exact same number of delegates as California has by itself. There are a bunch of other minor primaries. Cruz will probably take Indiana and Nebraska. Trump will probably take Rhode Island, Delaware, maybe Connecticut. Connecticut could go to Kasich. There'll be minor stuff going on. But fundamentally, you're looking at a situation where most likely, but not definitely, if Cruz can continue to beat Trump and win goodly shares of the delegates, even if he loses New York, you're looking at something where Trump goes into the convention with about 42% of the delegates, Cruz goes in with about 32, and Kasich goes in with about 10 or 15, and Rubio with 10. Then Rubio throws his support to Cruz, and Cruz and Trump are each at 42. That's when the second ballot comes into play. And Cruz in the last month has been playing a brilliant second ballot strategy. He's way out-organized Donald Trump in the grassroots. So he's moved in behind Trump in all of these primary victories and made sure that it was Cruz people who got selected to be the delegates. So in South Carolina, for example, all 50 or so votes are going to go for Trump on the first ballot. He won the primary. But the delegates will be Cruz people voting for Trump because they have to. And as soon as that first ballot's over, bang, they'll switch back to Cruz. And he's engineered that in 3 or 4 states at the moment, and maybe as many as 8 or 10 by the time he's finished. Nobody pays attention to the delegate elections. It's just detail. Nobody turns out, nobody cares about it, but Cruz's people care about it, and they've been very, very effective. So all of this, if we had to predict an outcome, would be headed toward a Cruz second ballot nomination. But
all right, I got about a minute left here. Let me get one question in here on John Kasich. This was a blue state. Should he not have done better there? And does this mean John Kasich needs to just politely bow out because he's done so poorly?
Yeah, this is a big blow to Kasich. Wisconsin was one of the states that he was supposed to carry, supposed to do well in Pennsylvania, Connecticut, and hold his own in New York and win Wisconsin. He didn't even come close. It highlights a big weakness that Kasich has. He has no money. And being in third place and with a minimal number of delegates, he's not going to get them. Now we go to New York. Now, the key thing in New York, Ed, is if they hold Trump under 50 in each district, then 1 out of the 3 delegates has to go to the second place finisher, no matter how much Trump carries it by if it's under 50. And that means that Cruz and Kasich could walk away with 27 of New York's 95 delegates and deny Trump the kind of knockout win he really needs.
All right, Dick Morris, thanks so much once again. We'll always talk to you soon, get your expertise on this as well. Let's switch up gears now. Donald Trump, a monster loser tonight to Ted Cruz in Wisconsin. Donald Trump promised that there would be a surprise. The surprise is maybe that he didn't lose by 20 points. Let's get it now from his side. Welcome in Donald Trump's former advisor, Roger Stone. Roger, tell us a little bit now about the Trump going forward strategy here after losing this big in Wisconsin.
Well, I think the cracks in the Trump campaign are beginning to show. In all honesty, his candidacy has been based on a communications-based strategy so far. It worked enormously well until now. The woman who ran the Trump campaign in Wisconsin, her only previous political experience was running the Trump campaign in Oklahoma, where you might recall Donald Trump lost. Prior to that, she worked at the state universities and actually never been in politics before. Trump had no polling, so of course he didn't really know what was going to happen tonight. He worked very hard. I give him credit for that. But in all truth, Ted Cruz out-organized him. The Walker machine is extremely adept at voter turnout, as they proved in 2 recall elections and 2 elections for governor, as well as beating back an attempt to recall the Republican majority in the state Senate. I enjoyed listening to Dick Morris, and if you need advice from the Democratic nomination, Dick would be the guy to talk to. I don't know if you've ever been to a Republican convention. Ted Cruz will not be nominated on the second ballot. The establishment will dump him like a hot potato as soon as they've used him to block Trump. This man Cruz is universally despised. He has no friends in American politics, even among his supporters. So the Bushes and the Romney wing of the party are supporting him, but I think temporarily. Donald Trump's got a very narrow path going forward. He has to win New York. He has to win New Jersey. He must win California. That's the big enchilada. And he has no campaign whatsoever in California. His delegates, the people who registered to be Trump delegates, are actually mostly Ron Paul people. So he's got a very tough road going forward. Could he still get to 1237? He could. My very best count puts him at 1205.
With about 2 minutes left to go here, though, and you say that they would not go for Ted Cruz no matter what. I get that. People have already said that many, many, many times over. But is it not fair to say that there are Republicans out there right now who are saying to themselves, we don't want Donald Trump. He has no handle on the issues. He knows nothing about foreign policy. He hasn't put together plans that quite work for the American government. The foreign leaders right now don't really like what he has to say. This is what a lot of the critics are saying in here right now. And they're saying that we got to bite the bullet right now. Go ahead and don't cut off our nose to spite our face. If we want to beat Hillary Clinton, we got to come up with somebody, and it won't be Donald Trump to beat her.
Well, you can't beat Hillary Clinton unless you're prepared to talk about her epic abuse of Bill's sexual assault victims. You're willing to deconstruct her tenure as Secretary of State, and you're prepared to go after the Clinton Foundation. Now, neither Jeb Bush nor Marco Rubio nor Chris Christie were prepared to do those things. They all said Bill's history was irrelevant. I'm not sure Ted Cruz has any appeal to independents or Democrats. In fact, I think he'd make Goldwater look like a big vote getter.
Well, but it's fair to say that independents and Democrats have no appeal for Donald Trump.
Well, except for he has won a lot of Democrats in crossover states. I would agree with you that in the last 2 weeks, I think he has had major setbacks. His mishandling of the abortion issue has hurt him. And then, frankly, the arrest of his campaign manager in Florida has hurt him. But heretofore, he has demonstrated greater crossover appeal to Democrats than any other candidate in those open primaries where Democrats and independents could vote.
I got about 20 seconds left. He's going to have to spend another $20 million to get to the convention. Do you think he'll stomach that?
That's a lot of money, and so far he's been very, very frugal. But remember, this is a campaign with no polling, virtually no TV commercials, no radio commercials. It's a tough road ahead for him to get to the nomination, no question.
But again, the question, do you think he'll stomach another $20 million? You know the man very well.
I would be surprised if he's prepared to spend that kind of money. He really is committed to a communications-based strategy, which is...
And unfortunately, our communications just ended right there. Sorry about that, Roger. All right, you've heard that. We'll take a break, come back, close things out. Bernie Sanders, Ted Cruz, the big winners. America Votes 2016 continues.